everybody, welcome to the Hungry Soul. I'm Shawna Jordan. We're going to make banana chocolate chip muffins today. They're so yummy. They're one of my husband's favorite. I don't make them very often because I like it to be a special thing when I do. I have some bananas that I'm using today that were in the freezer. Usually when I run out of, or my bananas start to go bad before I can use them up, I just toss them in the freezer. They get really, really ripe. They turn dark brown. They don't look very pretty, but they make the sweetest banana bread or muffins or whatever you're doing. So anytime I want to make them, they're already in there. I grab about 3 bananas out. That usually equals about a cup is what you're going to need for a batch. So anyways, I've already defrosted those. So let's go over our ingredients. I have the dry ingredients separate from the moist ingredients. I have about 1.5 cups of flour here and 2/3 of a cup of sugar. I have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to go ahead and mix those together, and you can just dump them right in, and then we're going to just quick whisk them together to make sure that that baking powder is really well blended into there. Alright, and now we're going to just mix together our wet ingredients. We have our mashed bananas. Oh, I didn't tell you what my ingredients were over here, did I? I'm sorry. I have 1/2 cup of unsalted butter that has been melted. I use unsalted butter because every company makes their butter differently, and the only way you can really control the salt in a baking recipe is to use unsalted. So you don't have to. They'll just might be a little bit saltier if you use regular salted butter, and that's okay. If I don't have any on hand, I just use regular. But because Christmas just ended, I have all kinds of unsalted butter left. So anyways, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter melted. I have 1 cup of mashed bananas. If it's a little bit over, that's okay. It'll just make your muffins that much more moist, but not too much over. I have 1 egg here, and I've beaten it already so that it will blend well into my recipe. I also have 1/4 cup of milk and 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips, and because we love chocolate, I always just put a little bit extra of that in there too. So anyways, I've added my bananas. I'm going to go ahead and put in the butter and the egg and the milk. And I'm just going to go ahead and whisk that all together. Careful, it's messy. These are so easy. I mean, literally we just mix the dry and the wet, and now we're going to mix them together. Now when you mix muffins, you want to be really careful not to over mix them. It will make them cook differently. They'll be tougher. They'll come to a peak. You won't get that nice round muffin top. So anyways, I just go ahead and pour in the wet ingredients right on top. And then we're just going to slowly fold that in. And like I said, it's sort of like egg whites. You just want to treat it very gently. And you only want to mix it right until the point where it's just mixed. It's even okay if there's just a tiny little bit of flour here and there, because that will all absorb together by the time you get into the muffin cups. And that's another thing we should talk about. You can use foil muffin cups, or you can just use a regular muffin pan and grease it or butter it or whatever you prefer. I don't have any foil muffin cups today, so we're just using a regular muffin pan. Now you can see that this is starting to come together, and it's just a little bit powdery, so we're just about done. And at this point, scrape your bottom, make sure you haven't missed anything, and then go ahead and pour in your chocolate chips, because we don't want to overmix. So then just go ahead and finish folding those in, and you'll kind of see the last of the powdery stuff come up. And that's absolutely it. We want to stop now. Now we're going to use ice cream scooper. I have my large one here. I like to use that just because it gives nice even sized muffins. Okay. So I have my muffin pan already ready, and I've sprayed it with a little cooking spray that's butter flavored. These are not very healthy muffins, but they are extremely tasty. Now we're filling the cups about 3/4 of the way full. You don't want to go too high or you'll get that big ledge on them when they cook up. And I'd always rather go back and add a little more to fill them up than to run out by the time I get to the end of my pans. So it's okay if you underfill them just a little at first. I've made a lot of banana chocolate chip muffin recipes, and over time I've come to realize that the best ones are made with butter, not oil, not shortening. You just get the most awesome flavor from a butter recipe. And like I said, not the healthiest, but the yummiest. Okay, just a little bit left in the pan here. Gonna top off these cups like we talked, the ones that aren't quite even. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, we're gonna go ahead, put these in the oven. They're gonna bake at 350 for about 32 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer at 30. I like to check them early. Every oven varies. My oven tends to get really hot in the back, and the back items cook quicker, so about 10 minutes before they're done, I'm gonna turn them around so that the other side gets a chance to have that extra heat as well. When you think they're done, you want to check them with a toothpick or a cake tester. Go ahead and stick it right into the middle of the muffin. When you pull the toothpick out, it should have melted chocolate on it, but no crumbs. Be very careful not to over bake these if you're not using liners. They tend to get dark on the bottom, so that's why I set my timer early as well. Okay, we're going to get them in the oven, and I will see you soon. All right, we're getting ready to check our banana chocolate chip muffins. As you can see, the buzzer just went off, and I set it for 30 instead of 32. Don't show my dirty oven. And I can pretty much tell they're done. They're nice and dark golden brown on the outside. And I'm just gonna insert a toothpick and it comes out clean. So we know they're done, so I'm gonna get them on the cooling rack. Okay, gonna get them on the cooling rack here. They're pretty sturdy, so you can take them out right away. If you need a little help, you can just run a knife around them like that. Be careful, because they're hot. But you don't want to let them cool in the pan because they continue to cook, and we don't really want them to get any more done or to lose any more moisture. Sometimes if you let them sit even just a couple minutes, you can just pop them right out of there. But I'm not going to wait. I want to eat one of these. Okay, they're all done. They're still a little bit warm, but they're cooling on this rack here, and we're going to go ahead and try one. I've put a little butter out here because, you know, half a cup of melted butter in the recipe isn't enough, so I'm going to add a little more. Haha, it's so hot that it's just running right off my knife. Get a good look at that. Look at how loaded it is with chocolate. You can see even the one without butter is just full of moisture. Very hot. Look at the steam. So good. The flavor is only going to get better and richer as they cool. Hope that you'll enjoy these as much as I do. My husband's behind the camera, and as I was taking them out of the pan, I could hear him moaning, so I know he's anxious to have one too. You can also find me on Facebook. Send me a like if you like what you saw today. Send me a tweet. I'm at Shawna at The Hungry Soul. I would love to hear from you. Love to hear your recipe suggestions. Until next time, my friend, live, love, and cook with passion.